Hi everyone, it's E, and welcome back to my channel. Today's video is a long-awaited video. I've been planning and thinking about this video for literally months now. When I first started reviewing every single Disney Channel original movie, I wasn't sure if I was going to do a ranking or not. But now that I have scored them all, I have compiled all of those scores into a definitive Disney Channel original movie ranking. Now, I ranked these movies based on 5 categories, or I should say up to 5 categories if they were applicable, and those were story, acting, lesson, songs, if there were songs, and enjoyability. Now, and I ranked them out of 5, so the story could get a 5 out of 5, whereas the songs got a 2 out of 5, you get the idea. But since there was only 5 categories ranked out of a total of 5 points, a lot of these movies tied, and for a ranking, that's really not that helpful. So I devised 2 bonus categories. A movie could receive an additional full point added to its score if it is rewatchable. So if a movie was ranked 4 out of 5, but I think it's rewatchable, then it gets a 5 out of 5. And then I also have something called a bonus category, which is just me adding points, mostly for tiebreaker purposes, but also for correction. You know, a lot of these movies, especially the ones I watched earlier on, I didn't have as much of a baseline for where I was ranking them. So some of the movies maybe I rated more highly or more low than I really should have after stepping back and watching them all. You know, ideally like a bell curve, there should be movies, equal number of movies ranked at a 1 as there are ranked at a 5, but there's not. There's a lot of movies that are ranked pretty highly, so I had to devise these bonus categories in order to break ties and kind of correct for maybe some of my scoring that wasn't 100% accurate. I tried to be as unbiased and objective as possible, and for that reason, some of my favorite movies really aren't ranked that highly, and some movies that I don't think are really, that I enjoyed that much are ranked highly. But of course, it's impossible to be completely unbiased, so some of my favorites do end up quite close to the top. But I think that I've explained everything as well as I can, so without further ado, we can just jump on into things. With number 109, it shouldn't be a surprise, it's You Lucky Dog. It got 1s in every category that was applicable, and I didn't give it any bonuses at all, so its total score is 1. And down here in this part of the screen, I'm putting the video that I actually reviewed it in. So if any of these movies, like the poster or the scoring, seems intriguing to you, you can check here to see which video I reviewed it in, and you can go check it out. I've created a playlist of all of my Disney Channel reviews, so you can go check it out there. Number 108 is The Poof Point. This movie got 1s except for the lesson, which I gave a 2. And the total was 1.25 for a total of 1.25 with no bonuses awarded. And this is in the video called These Movies Are Super, which is part 4 of the series. Number 107 is Jumping Ship. This one was one that got a pretty big bonus of 0.26. This movie is still pretty low ranked, but when I watched this movie, it made me angry, and so I gave it a lot of 1s, but I've seen much worse DCOMs, obviously The Poof Point and You Lucky Dog being examples, so I gave this 0.26 to make its total score 1.26. And one of the best things about it is that it has all 3 of the Lawrence brothers in it, so that's something to enjoy if you decide to watch this bad movie. Number 106 is Frenemies. This has Zendaya and Bella Thorne in it, but unfortunately it's not very good. The total was a 1.5. and I got no bonuses. And this is in the video called Some of the Worst Disney Channel Movies of All Time, so you can kind of just guess based off of that title how I felt about it. Number 105 was 'Twas the Night. It was also in that bad DCOM video, which was part 11 in my series. This one got a total score of 1.75, but with no bonuses. This has Bryan Cranston in it, which should make it good, but it doesn't. Number 104 is Sharpay's Fabulous Adventure. I feel sad because I like Ashley Tisdale, and I wish this movie was better, but it's just totally unnecessary and feels like a cash grab, and that's the way it feels when you're watching it. You feel like you're getting took when you watched it, like, oh, I tuned in because I liked High School Musical, and you're just taking advantage of me and making me watch this bad movie. So it got a 1.8 with no bonuses. Number 103 is Zapped. Again, this got Zendaya in it. It makes me sad that it's ranked so low because I like Zendaya, but we all know how problematic this movie is. And if you don't, you can watch my review of it in the video titled Some of the Worst Disney Channel Movies of All Time. And this one had a score of 2 with no bonuses. Number 102 Also had a total score of 2, but this needed to be ranked higher than Zap, so I gave it a bonus of 0.01 for a total of 2.01. Now you see it has Ali Mashaka in it, and she actually plays a character named Ali. There are redeeming qualities to this movie, so maybe you do like it, but I didn't, so there's that. 101 is Tangled Before Ever After, and I'm sorry that this is ranked so low. I wish it were ranked higher. This is a pilot for a TV show, and even at that, it feels like an incomplete movie. It doesn't feel like you're really getting a whole story. So that's why all applicable categories, I just gave it 2. I did give it a bonus of 0.02 because I did like it a little bit better than Now You See It. But I've actually seen this twice. The first time I watched it, I just saw it on Disney Plus and thought, hey, I liked Tangled, I'll watch this. And I didn't enjoy it then. And then when I had to rewatch it to review it for this series, I liked it even less. So unless you're gonna watch the TV show, there's no point to watch this movie. Next up is Twitches 2. This movie is not very good, and it's weird because like my memory of the Twitches movies is like, oh yeah, those are really like good DCOMs, but they're really not. When you watch them back, nothing happens. The stories, it's like they have no plot, and I don't know how they managed to make movies out of nothing happening. I did give it a bonus of 0.03 because I thought it was a slightly better or more fleshed out of a movie than Tangled, but it got a score of 2.03. And because both of those movies are almost exactly the same, like it's almost like watching the same movie twice, so they're ranked right next to each other, Twitches being number 99. Number 98 is Kim Possible 2019. I think we were all heartbroken when we watched this because we love Kim Possible. And I say we, I mean the entire world. We all love Kim Possible, and we wanted a lot more out of this movie than what we got. The casting of Shigo was good, the casting of Ron was good, but those are really about the only redeeming qualities to this movie. So it got a total score of 2.05. Don't Look Under the Bed, kind of a random Halloween movie with a total score of 2.06. Nothing really too notable about this one, honestly. Number 96 is Freaky Friday. This has some of the worst songs of any musical ever. Unfortunately, like the vocalists are really talented, so it's like they had these really talented vocalists and actress, but gave them poo-poo songs to sing. So the total for this one's a 2.2. Number 95 is Dad Napped. It also has a score of 2.2. So I guess I really should have given this a bonus of 0.01, so it would be a 2.21. That would be more correct. But yeah, this one has Emily Osment in it and a bunch of other Disney Channel stars, like David Henry, I think is a kid's name, and Jason Earls. And you'll recognize a lot of the actors and actresses in this if you watch Disney Channel in like the late 2000s. But this movie is I hated it. I won't say it's bad, but I hated it. So that's why it's number 95. Number 94 is Den Brother. I gave this a bonus point of 0.01, which I guess is unnecessary, really. I don't know why I did, because, yeah, it could have been just rated 2.25 and it wouldn't have interfered with any other scores. But this is Den Brother, and it's in a video titled The DCOM Video When I Finally Lose My Mind, and the reason is because almost every Disney Channel protagonist in that movie video was named Alex. This kid's name is Alex. And I don't know why. It's like they only had a list of like 5 names they could choose from, but that's Den Brother. And number 93 is Xenon Z3, which she saves the moon from being colonized, yippee skippy. I don't know. These movies are also boring, and you wouldn't think that because they take place in space and all that kind of stuff, and it's like futuristic, but they're just not well done. 92 is Return to Halloween Town. They recast Marnie. She was played by Kimberly J. Brown, and Sarah Paxton took over the role, and Sarah Paxton just is not as good at being Marnie as Kimberly J. Brown, and she had big shoes to fill, and she just didn't do a good job, so she was kind of set up to fail there, and that's why it's at number 92. Number 91 is Radio Rebel. Part of the reason that this one's ranked so low is because Debbie Ryan, who plays Radio Rebel, just gave a strange performance, just absolutely bizarre, and that's why it's not very good. Number 90 is Teen Beach 2. They took a wonderful movie of Teen Beach 1 and basically just pooped all over it, and I hate that. So Teen Beach 2 at number 90 with a total score of 2.41. Jump In is at number 89. It's just kind of a boring movie. I like Corbin Bleu a lot, but the movie's just not that exciting, and Double Dutch is not that exciting. They tried their best to make it exciting, but it just wasn't. So it got a total score of 2.5. Next up is Xenon the Sequel. I ranked this one a little bit higher than Jump In. I gave it a bonus point of 0.01, so they could barely edge it out. Again, it's just not that exciting, even though it should be. Number 87 is Bad Hair Day. This one had a total score of 2.52. Notably, the acting is pretty good, but the lesson is very bad, and the story pacing is strange, and everything is so contrived. And the woman she's the mom on Good Luck Charlie, she plays this cop person. She makes the movie almost unwatchable. Number 86 is Cheetah Girls One World with a total score of 2.6. Raven Simone couldn't be bothered to show up for this movie, but they decided to make it anyway, and I will obviously always disagree with that decision. Number 85 is Hounded. It got a total score of 2.75. Most of that score being attributed to Shia LaBeouf's excellent performance as the villain in this movie. Number 84 is the Sweet Life movie. This movie is it's just stupid, and it's upsetting as a Zack and Cody fan. As a child watching this as an adult, I was like, why? It was just foolish, but it was better than Hounded at least. Number 83 is Ready to Run. This movie has a talking horse in it, and still I rated it higher than the Sweet Life movie, so that should tell you a little bit of something about my opinions of the Sweet Life movie. I hate talking animals. So if I rate this movie higher than the Sweet Life movie, then that's really more of an indication of how bad the Sweet Life movie is than it is an indication of how good this one is. And a total score of 2.77. Number 82 is Invisible Sister. I wish I liked this more because I like Rowan Blanchard so much. It has a total score of 2.78. And nothing else really to say about it except for I wish it were better. Number 81 is Quince. If it weren't for screaming, crying babies occupying so much of the movie's screen time and runtime, I might have liked it better, but as a viewer, it gets a little bit tedious and frustrating to be listening to screaming babies cry for an hour and a half. So this one gets a score of 2.79. I would still rather listen to screaming, crying babies than watch the Sweet Life movie again. Number 80 is The Scream Team. This is a Halloween DCOM that had a really original concept and poor execution. It has a total score of 2.8, and it's at number 80 on the list. Number 79 is Go Figure. Honestly, this is kind of a forgettable movie in my opinion. It's about a figure skater who has to join a hockey team. It got a score of 3 with no bonuses, so that's Go Figure. Number 78 is Stepsister from Planet Weird. This one is from Planet Weird. This movie is bizarre. But the two girls who play off each other, the alien girl and the human girl, they're kind of likable and interesting to watch. So there is that. This one I gave a bonus point of 0.1 so that it could beat out the previous movie. Number 77 is the Jet Jackson movie. I think this movie would be rated higher if I knew anything about Jet Jackson before watching it. I've never seen the TV show. I'm not Canadian, so I think that's why this movie is based in Canada, so I don't know anything about the TV show or the movie. I give it a bonus of 0.02 for a total of 3.02. It's a good movie, but I just didn't connect to it because I wasn't familiar with the characters. Number 76 is The 13th Year. I gave this is the first one on this list that actually is getting a rewatch point. And that's because it's just so nostalgic that I think it'd be hard not to rewatch it. I also got a bonus point of 0.03 for a total of 3.03. You'll note that this movie gets a song rating, and that's because the end credit song was so bad that it would be unfair of me not to take away from the movie's total score. So I went ahead and threw in a song category to give it a 1 for the end credit song because I think it deserved it. Number 75 is Right on Track. It has Brie Larson in it. It's about these female race car drivers. Very exciting-ish. Drag races really aren't that fun to watch. They just go in a straight line. So it's kind of like, whoop-de-doo, the race is already over. It gets a total of 3, but I gave it a bonus of 0.05 for 3.05 is the total score at number 75 on the list. Number 74 is Stuck in the Suburbs. Here we have Brenda Song, who, if you'll note, she's in a ton of Disney Channel original movies. A ton. Which is great for her, and we love that. This movie got a total of 2, because honestly, it's like, this movie is so nostalgic from when I was a kid, but watching it, it's just kind of dumb. But I did give it a rewatch point because it's like, there's just something about this movie that makes it rewatchable. And I don't know if it's just because it's kind of like a girl's fantasy to meet a pop star and like help him. And that's kind of what this movie like plays into the fantasy of. So it gets a rewatch point and a bonus of 0.2 for a total score of 3.2. Next is Alley Cat Strike. It's a movie about bowling, which, I mean, nobody really likes bowling that much. So it gets a total score of 3.25 and is at number 73 on the list. Number 72 is Johnny Capahola Back on Board. This movie is like a sequel that nobody asked for, but we got anyway. This movie came out in, I think, like 2007 maybe, where the original Johnny Tsunami movie came out like 8 years before that. And it was like, are we still supposed to believe that Johnny is a teenager, even though it's been 8 years since the last time we saw him and he was 13 then? But Disney Channel's always trying to convince us that people who are in their 20s are teenagers, so I guess we should come to expect it by now. But this movie gets a 3.25 with a bonus of 0.01 for a total of 3.26. Tiger Cruise is at number 71. This movie's kind of a bummer. It's about 9/11, but it's got Hayden Panettiere in it and Bill Pullman, who are both pretty famous and well-known actors, so there is some sort of credibility to the movie, and there's a little bit of historicity, so I gave it some bonus points for that, 0.02 for a total of 3.27. Next up is the Jenny Project. This is about teaching a chimp sign language. If you like chimps, primates, monkeys, then you might like this movie. It's just really bizarre and random. I would rather watch a chimp learn sign language than watch a movie about 9/11 though, so let me know if you can relate. I give this a bonus point of 0.03 to beat out Tiger Cruise for a total of 3.28. Next up is Halloween Town High. This is ranked pretty low considering it's part of like one of the most iconic Disney Channel saga series of all time. But it's just not that enjoyable, and I think I was dozing off while I was watching it. Like, I just could not keep my attention. It gets a total of 3.25 with a bonus of 0.04 for a total score of 3.29. And that is because it should be a little bit behind True Confessions. Again, Shia LaBeouf is a great actor, and he basically makes this movie as watchable as it is. It gives a bonus point of 0.05 for a total of 3.3, and that puts it at number 68 on the list. It's a little bit uncomfortable to watch this movie, but if you can get past that, I think that it might be helpful for kids to watch this movie to learn about people with different abilities and how disabilities might present themselves in a classroom setting or just in public, to kind of get kids used to different kinds of people. Number 67 is Girl vs. Monster. This movie I feel like had a lot of potential but just didn't live up to it. And the other thing is that it's called Girl vs. Monster, and like even like the movie poster, like that clearly looks like a monster's hand, like Frankenstein's monster or something like that. But they're really ghosts, so it should be called Girl vs. Ghosts. And it like steals a lot of concepts from Danny Phantom but just doesn't quite execute on them as well. So it got a total score of 3.4 with no bonuses. Number 66 is Life is Rough. Kyle Massey is in this movie, and he portrays this kid who's like just really interesting and likable, but I just feel like they didn't utilize his character to its fullest potential. So I gave this movie a 3.5 with no bonuses. Good Luck Charlie, It's Christmas is not that good of a movie, honestly. You're just gonna sit down and watch it. But I did give it a rewatch point because I am watching Good Luck Charlie, and when I reach the point in the TV show where this movie would be taking place chronologically, I probably will watch it again. And I give it a bonus of 0.01 for a total of 3.51. Number 64 is Genius. This movie I gave a 2.5, but I did give it a rewatch point because I actually have watched this movie somewhat recently. I watched it a little bit before the DCOMs series, and I rewatched it again for the series, and I think I could see myself watching it again because I didn't hate having to watch it a second time, and so I don't think I'd hate watching it a third time. And I gave it a bonus of 0.02 for a total of 3.52. The Ultimate Christmas Present features our queen Brenda song, yet again. This movie is not that good, but I did give it a rewatch point because I could see myself watching this around Christmas time. I don't know if you guys have noticed this, but Christmas movies really aren't that good. Like the Santa Claus, for example, we all love the Santa Claus. Like it's one of the most iconic movies ever. But like when you watch it, you're like, this is actually not a very good movie. But because it's about Christmas, we watch it and we enjoy it. And I feel like this movie kind of has the same vibe. And I give it a bonus point of 0.03 for a total of 3.53. Next up is Cowbells. This movie is kind of depressing and a bummer because it's about like a lot of financial problems and people like struggling to pay their bills and stuff. But I think that Ally and AJ Michelle did a good job in this movie. It kind of has a Material Girls vibe. And I gave it a bonus of 0.1, so it got a total score of 3.6. And next up is Xenon Girl of the 21st Century. This is the highest rated Xenon movie on my list, and it's still only at 61. I don't think it's a very good trilogy. It's based off a book series, and it leads me to wonder if the book is any good. But it got a total score of 3.66666 because I only ranked it on 3 categories because I didn't really feel like there was a lesson to it, and it's not fair to rate a movie like on having a lesson if it doesn't have one. Like not every movie has to have a moral. It's just kind of a common feature of Disney Channel movies. So 3 categories, we get 3.6 repeating. I just truncated it to 3.67, and that's where it is at number 61. Number 60 is Up, Up, and Away with a total of 3.75 and no bonuses. It's about a superhero family. It's pretty cute, but I wouldn't watch it again. Number 59 is Full Court Miracle, and I've said it before, I'll say it again. I love the name of this movie, Full Court Miracle. It's like a play on Full Court Press, but it's got miracle in it. I just think it's funny, and I really like that about it. It gets a total of 3.75 with a bonus of 0.01, so it gets a total score of 3.76. Next up is Cheetah Girls 2. I pulled this image. I think this is what they use on Disney+. Let's look. Dorinda here is standing in front of Aqua, but her arm goes behind her. So it's like, is she standing like this with her arm way back, but the angle of her arm doesn't look like it? So whoever created this like thumbnail for use on Disney+, I'm not saying they should be fired, but they need to correct this. That's not right. Anyway, the total for this movie gets a 3.4, and I give it a bonus of 0.5. It takes place in Barcelona, and it's a beautiful setting. So this movie, like, maybe if you've never seen it, I would say go ahead and watch Cheetah Girls 2. Number 57 is Horse Sense. This movie gets a flat score of 4 with no bonuses. It's got those Lawrence brothers in it, and this is actually the first movie, and Jumping Ship is a sequel. But, like, it's bizarre. This movie did not need a sequel. It was good enough by itself. It's a little bit boring, but like the lesson and the acting are really good. And I don't know, there's something just very memorable about this movie to me. Number 56 is Avalon High. It got a total of 3.5 as its score, but I think that it deserved to be rated higher than Horse Sense, so I give it a bonus of 0.51. There's some cool aspects to this movie, and the ship is really good. So, number 55 is Hatching Pete. Jason Dolly is in this, and he's pretty good. Mitchell Musso's character in this is very strange, so there's that. This movie I gave a total of 3, but I think I would rewatch it, so I give it a rewatch point and a bonus of 0.02, so it gets a total of 4.02. Number 54 is Let It Shine. This movie is based off Cyrano de Bergerac, which is a French play from the 1800s based on a real person's life from the 1600s, but they've modernized it and made it about kids writing and making rap music, and it's very funny. That's the way that they chose to interpret the story, and I think that's kind of cool. So I gave this total 3.8 with a bonus of 0.25 for an overall of 4.05, and that's where it is at number 54 on the list. Number 53 is How to Build a Better Boy. This movie got a raw score of 4, but I gave it a bonus of 0.1 for a total of 4.1. It's pretty decent. Number 52 is Johnny Tsunami. I wish this were rated higher, but this is one of those ones that's so nostalgic when you think of it. Like from a kid, it's got like the iconic "Go Big or Go Home" line, and but just when you're watching it, you're like, this really isn't that good. It gets a total score of 3, but I did give it a rewatch point just because the nostalgia is so strong. I think it would be rewatchable for that reason alone, and then I give it a bonus of 0.15 for a total of 4.15. Number 51 is The Swap. This movie is actually really cute and well done. I got a total of 4 plus a bonus of 0.2 for a total of 4.2. Number 50 is Upside Down Magic. This is the newest Disney Channel original movie, and it is in my video called Reviewing the Newest Disney Channel Original Movie. So, but this one's just totally mediocre. It's at number 50 out of a list of 109, which should tell you it's average. It got a total score of 3.25, but I did give it a rewatch point because I think I could see myself watching this again, especially since it is new, just to give myself some time to like cool off and try it again. Number 49 is Buffalo Dreams. This got a total score of 4.25 plus a bonus of 0.01. This one is interesting, to say the least. And I don't know, it's not a very obscure Disney Channel movie, but there is some value to it for sure. Number 48 is Miracle in Lane 2 with a score of 4.25. I gave it a bonus of 0.02 because I think it deserved to beat Buffalo Dreams a little bit. So it got a total of 4.27. It's got Frankie Muniz in it, and he plays a very similar character to who he plays on Malcolm in the Middle. So if you like Malcolm in the Middle, maybe you'll like this. Number 47 is called Going to the Mat. Number 48 and 47 are both about people with, different disabilities, and I think that they were handled okay in both movies. This movie got a total of 4.25 plus a bonus of 0.03. Andrew Lawrence is in this movie, and it's several years after, some of his other more maybe famous DCOM appearances. And he grew up so handsome. He was kind of a goofy looking kid, but he grew up so handsome. This movie gets a total of 4.28 at number 47. Number 46 is Cloud9. This was in my new favorites video. And it's ranked pretty low, but that's just because I really dislike Dove Cameron. And because of her, I won't rewatch this movie. I think if it had any other actress in it, I would rewatch it, but I just don't like her. So this movie gets a total of 4.29 as its score. Number 45 is Starstruck, and I feel similar about this movie as I did to Cloud9. It's not the actress I have a problem with, it's just the female lead in this movie is just sort of unlikable. This movie gets a total of 3.8 plus a bonus of 0.5 because I did like it a little better than Cloud9 for a total of 4.3. Number 44 is Wendy Wu. Brenda Song is the protagonist in this movie. Good for Brenda Song. This movie gets a score of 3. It's not that good, but I think it does have rewatch value, if for no other reason than like the nostalgia and the cheesy fights. So it gets a rewatch point and a bonus of 0.31 for a total score of 4.31. Number 43 is the Proud Family movie. This movie is so funny, which is why it's ranked as high as it is. It gets a total score of 4 plus a bonus of 0.4 for a total of 4.4. Number 42 is The Other Me. This movie is so cute and so cheesy. Some of like the body double work is not very good, and some of the effects are not very good. But Andrew Lawrence actually gave a really good performance in this movie, and so I give him props for that. It got a total score of 4.25 with a bonus of 0.24 for a total of 4.49. Next up is Rip Girls, which I ranked at number 41. It gave a score of 3 plus a rewatch point and a bonus of 0.5 for a total of 4.5. The setting in that movie is just beautiful. Next up is Eddie's $1 Million Cook-Off at number 40. I think I will rewatch this movie because I rewatched it anyway before I started this series, just because it's like, Eddie's $1 Million Cook-Off, I love that movie. So it got a rewatch point plus a bonus of 0.01 for a total of 4.51. Next up is Gotta Kick It Up. This movie is not that exciting, but I did give it a rewatch point just because of the nostalgia factor. For me, like this movie is kind of memorable from when I was a kid, so I think I would watch it again. And I gave it a bonus of 0.52, so it would beat out Eddie's $1 Million Cook-Off. Number 38 is Double Teamed, another one of my childhood favorites. This movie gets a score of 3.5 plus a rewatch point, again, because I have rewatched this movie as an adult, and I did enjoy it when I did, and a bonus of 0.03 for a total of 4.53. Number 37 is Motocrossed. This movie kind of has She's the Man vibes to it. We love a little cross-dressing story. So this gets a score of 4.25 with a bonus of 0.29 for a total of 4.54. Number 36 is Minutemen. Again, Jason Dolley making an appearance, protagonist in this movie. This movie gets a score of 3.25 with a rewatch point of 1 and a bonus of 0.31. I remember watching this when it premiered as a kid, and I enjoyed it even though my mom kind of made fun of me for it. This is a total score of 4.56. Number 35 is Halloween Town 2, Calabar's Revenge. You can see there's really a big gap between Halloween Town 2 and Halloween Town High, which is the next in the series. I think there was a big drop in quality after this second movie. So if you are going to watch the Halloween Town series, I would maybe stick to just the first two and not spend time on the second two. That's just my opinion. This one I gave a score of 3 plus a rewatch of 0.1 and then a bonus of 0.57 for a total of 4.57. Number 34 is Adventures in Babysitting, which is partially ranked so high because I like Sophia Carson and Sabrina Carpenter, who starred in this movie. I gave this a rewatch point and a bonus of 0.08 for a total of 4.58. Number 33 is Phantom of the Megaplex. This movie is special to me because it was one of my husband's favorites as a kid, and he actually agreed to watch this with me when I was doing my reviews. I gave it a score of 4 plus a bonus of 0.59 to rank it at 4.59, and number 33 on the list overall. Number 32 is Teen Beach Movie. Again, we're talking about a huge gap between Teen Beach Movie and Teen Beach 2. They took this incredible, fun, feel-good movie and just totally ruined it with a sequel. But Teen Beach Movie is super enjoyable and fun, and I would recommend it to anybody. You'll see here that the story, the acting, and the lesson all got abysmal scores. Normally if there's not a lesson, I don't give it a ranking, but this movie had a lesson. It was just that bad that I couldn't, in good conscience, give it a 1. I had to give it a 0. But the enjoyability and the songs were so good that pulled it up to a 2.6. And I gave it a full rewatch point and a full bonus point, a full 1 point added on for a total of 4.6. And that puts Teen Beach Movie at number 32 on the list. Number 31 is Can of Worms, which is probably surprising to put this high because it's got the creepy puppetry and it's just kind of a gross movie. But there is just kind of something special about this movie. It gives off very almost 80s vibes to me for some reason. I gave it a 3.75 and I gave it a full rewatch point for a total of 4.75. I think I would watch this again around Halloween time. It's just, there's something kind of, charming about it. Number 30 is You Wish, and again, another one of my childhood favorites. It's not the most exciting movie, but I do think there's something special about it. I like AJ Chalhoub in this. He plays Twitty on Even Stevens. The movie got a 3.75, but I gave it a rewatch point and a bonus of 0.01 so that it would edge out Can of Worms. Pixel Perfect, I think, holds up over the years. This was, again, one of my childhood favorites. Watching it as an adult, I still think it's pretty good. There's definitely some problems with this movie that I didn't pick up on when I was a kid that I do definitely pick up on now. But I think that their handling of technology is actually fairly realistic and relatable to even an audience in the year 2020. So I gave it a 3.8 plus a full rewatch point and a bonus of 0.2 for a total score of 5. Next up is Geek Charming. I gave this a full rewatch point and a bonus of 0.26. That way that it would slightly outrank Pixel Perfect, because I did like this movie a little better than Pixel Perfect, and I think it's just actually a better, higher quality movie. It's got some recognizable actors and actresses from TV on it, and I would recommend it. Next up is Luck of the Irish. This has Ryan Merriman in it. I think it's a good endorsement of his acting and of who he is. To rank this movie at number 27, he's in 3 Disney Channel original movies and they're all in the top 30, so good for him. This movie gets a 4 plus a rewatch bonus of 1 and a additional 0.05 for a total of 5.05. Next up is the Wizards of Waverly Place movie. It's got some serious problems with it, in terms of the story, but I think that it is enjoyable, and I did give it a rewatch point because I could see myself watching Wizards of Waverly Place, and if I didn't watch the TV series, I would want to watch this movie again wherever it slots in chronologically in that series. And I gave it a bonus of 0.31 for a total of 5.06. Next up is Phineas and Ferb Across the Second Dimension. I gave this a 5. So raw score-wise, this is the highest ranked Disney Channel movie. But I didn't give it a rewatch point, which I maybe should have, because in that review video where I'm talking about this, I said I could see myself watching it again. But the more I've thought about it, I probably won't, because I don't think that I'm going to wind up watching Phineas and Ferb, the TV show. But if I do, I will watch this movie, but I'm sold on watching Good Luck Charlie, and I'm sold on watching Wizards of Waverly Place, and I'm not quite sold on watching Phineas and Ferb. So let me know in the comments below, should I watch it? Should I spend time watching Phineas and Ferb? And if I do, maybe I will rewatch this movie. I gave it a bonus of 0.1 for a total of 5.1. Number 24 is High School Musical 2. This movie is very enjoyable and it's got excellent songs. Fabulous is like one of the best Disney Channel original movie songs of all time. So its raw score was a 3.2, but I gave it a full rewatch point and a full bonus point for a total of 5.2. Number 23 is Under Wraps, which this one's a little tricky to watch. It's not available on Disney Plus, so if you want to watch it, you'll have to find another way to watch it. But this is just an excellent Halloween movie. It is so cute, and like the kids are so charming in this movie. And I feel like they could get away with a lot more back on, in the late 90s when this movie was made on Disney Channel than they can get away with now. There's a little bit more like adult humor in this movie, so it's enjoyable for that reason. I gave it a full rewatch point because I could see myself watching this again around Halloween time, and a bonus of 0.5 for a total of 5.25. Number 22 is Get a Clue. This has Lindsay Lohan in it and Brenda Song, of course. This movie I gave a 4 out of 5. It's the only Disney Channel movie that I wish was longer. I gave it a rewatch of 1 point and a bonus of 0.3 for a total of 5.3. Number 21 is Camp Rock 2. Of course, it's got the Jonas Brothers in it, which makes it like super enjoyable. And it got a score of 4.2 with a rewatch point and a bonus of 0.02 for a total of 5.4. Number 20 is Descendants 3, and part of me is surprised that the Descendants movies made it this high up in my list because, I don't know, the title of that video was Descendants, do they live up to the hype? And to a certain extent, no, I don't think that these movies lived up to the hype that I was hearing about them, like, oh, Descendants are such great movies. But the thing is, when you're thinking of it as a movie, no, they're not good movies, but when you're thinking of them as a DCOM, a Disney Channel movie, like they have such higher production quality, like in higher production value. They put a lot more time and care into the Descendants movies than they did to basically any other Disney Channel original movie. So like you have to give it points for that. Like it has to be ranked highly because just objectively speaking, they're better than most DCOMs. I gave it a 4.2 with a rewatch point of 1 because I think I will watch the Descendants series again, and a bonus of 0.25 for a total of 5.45. Number 19 is The Color of Friendship. This is a very significant Disney Channel original movie, and I'm shocked that I haven't seen it before. I could see them playing this movie at elementary schools for educational purposes. I think this movie's a little sad. It's not that fun, but it's important, and so it's ranked highly for that reason, and it gets rewatch points for that reason. So it gets a total score of 5.48. Number 18 is Cadet Kelly. Of course it's ranked highly. We love Hilary Duff. We love this movie. I think this is one of the most iconic Disney Channel original movies of all time. A lot of people have this in their top 10 list. I gave it a score of 3.5, a rewatch point of 1, and a bonus of 0.99 for a total of 5.49. And the reason I only gave it a bonus of 0.99 is because I wanted Halloween Town to be more highly ranked than Cadet Kelly, because I just frankly think Halloween Town is maybe more iconic than Cadet Kelly. You'll have to let me know if you think I'm right or wrong when I say that. This movie I gave a total of 3.5, but it gets a full rewatch point and a full bonus point for a total of 5.5. Number 16 is Cheetah Girls. This movie's not as good as I remember it being from when I was a kid. Galleria is so unlikable and like narcissistic in this movie that it sometimes makes it hard to watch. But this movie is iconic. Like, it's Cheetah-licious. I gave it a 4 out of 5 with a full rewatch point and a bonus of 0.6 for a total of 5.6. Number 15 is Descendants 2. Honestly, I think I like Descendants 2 a little bit better than the first Descendants, like just from enjoyability standpoint. But for other factors, Descendants wound up being more highly ranked. And I think it's because I gave it more of a bonus point. And that's just because it's the first in a series, so I think that there is some like credit to it being like the one that kicked it all off. So this one got a score of 4.4, which is a really good score. And I gave it a full rewatch point and a bonus of 0.25 for a total of 5.65. Next up is the Princess Protection Program. This one I just really loved, honestly. It has Demi Lovato and Selena Gomez in it, which is super iconic. It got a total score of 4 plus a full rewatch point and a bonus of 0.7 for a total of 5.7. Number 13 is Rita and Weep. I related to this movie as a kid and I still relate to it as an adult. It got a total of 3.75 with a full rewatch point and a full bonus point for a total of 5.75. I watched this multiple times as an adult even, so it has to be ranked pretty highly for that. Number 12 was Camp Rock. I'm surprised that this didn't make it into my top 10, and I think if you asked me to just write down my top 10 DCOMs, this would probably be in it. But like I said, I'm trying to be unbiased and objective, and objectively speaking, this is just not as good as some of those other movies in my top 10. It had a total score of 3.8 with a full rewatch point and a full bonus point for a total of 5.8. Number 11 is the Even Stevens movie. Shia LaBeouf is just so funny. He is just so funny. The total for this one is 4.25 with a full rewatch point and a bonus point of 0.7 for a total of 5.95. Number 10 is the first Descendants movie, so it did break into the top 10. Congratulations, Descendants. See, and for this one, the total score is 4, so it wasn't like the raw score wasn't as high as Descendants 2, but I gave it a full bonus point, so that brought the total score up to 6 because it also got a rewatch point. Number 9 is Mom's Got a Date with a Vampire. I'm surprised this movie made it into the top 10. I'm surprised this movie beat out Halloween Town, but it did. I mean, there's no way to explain it other than to say, like, it had Mr. Sheffield in it, like, it had good actors in it. It's just a touching, like, heartwarming family movie. And so I gave it a full rewatch point because I can see myself watching this every Halloween, and a bonus of 0.8 for a total of 6.05. Number 8 is Zombies 2. This one is one of my highest ranked raw score at 4.6. I gave it a full rewatch point because I have rewatched it since I watched it the first time for my review. But I only gave it a bonus of 0.5 because I kind of have some problems with this movie. And I think it's because I'm so passionate about the zombies movies that, you know, I want to see them be as good as they possibly can be. And there's some areas in which I think Zombies 2 fall short. Number 7 is Smart House. So like I said, Ryan Merriman, he's got 2 movies in the DCOM top 10, so good for Ryan Merriman. This movie is super, like, nostalgic and memorable, and again, I think that it holds up more than you would think it would with it being about technology, and with this being the year 2020, you would think that there would be some ways in which the movie falls short, and it does, but for the most part, it's still relatable even after all of these years. So it gets a full rewatch point and a bonus of 0.9 for a score of 6.15. Number 6 is Brink. This movie, like, I connect with as an adult even more than I connected with it as a kid. So I give it, like, big ups for that. So I got a full rewatch point and a bonus of 0.95 for a total of 6.2. Number 5 is A Ring of Endless Light, which is definitely one of my new favorite DCOMs. Like, when I watched this for the first time, I had no expectations because I never really even heard of this DCOM. But then when I watched it, I was like, this is so, like, beautiful and artistic. Sometimes it tries to be a little too overly poetic, but it's just not a lot of DCOMs try to be deep and thoughtful and thought-provoking, so that's really cool. I gave it a full rewatch point and a full bonus point for a total of 6.25. Number 4 is Kim Possible, So the Drama, and Kim and Ron get together in this movie, so obviously this is ranked very high up. Its total score was a 4.3 repeating, with a rewatch point of 1 and a bonus point of 1. I've probably seen this movie maybe more than any of the other DCOMs on this list, except for maybe High School Musical, which I've seen many, many, many times. This is number 3 on the list. It got a total score of 4.4 with a full rewatch point and a full bonus point. I don't think I really need to say much about High School Musical. Number 2 is Lemonade Mouth, and when I watched Lemonade Mouth again for this review series, I honestly thought it was going to be my number 1 movie because it's just so good. Like, this is just straight up a good movie. It's well made, the acting's good, the pacing is good, the story is good. My husband watched this one with me and he admitted that, at least for a DCOM, it is pretty good. So, like, I mean, that's a pretty high endorsement for this movie, and I love Lemonade Mouth. It had a total score of 4.6. I gave it a full rewatch point. But for bonus point, I gave it 0.95, and the reason being that when I watched the number 1 movie, it just connected with me on a totally different level. And if you've been watching my channel, and if you've been paying attention, you'll know what my number 1 movie is, and that is Zombies. I totally was not expecting this. Before I started this series, I had no concept, I had no knowledge of the Zombies movies. I would have never thought that it would be my number 1 movie. But when I watched this movie for the first time, it just gave me a sense of joy that I haven't had in a long time, especially with everything going on this year in 2020. Like, this movie just made me feel happy. It made me feel inspired. It made me want to write fanfic. It made me want to draw fan art. It just really inspired me, and I just think was a super imaginative and heartwarming love story. So it had a total score of 4.6, the same as Lemonade Mouse Raw score, but I gave it a full rewatch point because I've seen this movie now 3 times, and I gave it a full bonus point for a total score of 6.6. I think I might make a full video talking about all of my thoughts and feelings on the zombies movies because, like I said, I love these movies so much, but at the same time, because of that, I'm also kind of critical of them. So I might do a whole video talking about my full thoughts and feelings on the zombies movies. And I might do one final video on DCOMs as a whole and just talk about my thoughts and feelings on made-for-TV kids movies and what I think of them. But I'm not sure 100% about the future of this channel and in terms of like Disney Channel being talked about on my YouTube channel, but I'm sure that there will be more coming in that area. So like, comment, and subscribe if you enjoyed this video and if you want to see more Disney Channel content on my channel. And just let me know what other things you think I should rank. And maybe I will, maybe I won't. And you'll just have to stay tuned and find out what we do next. And with all that being said, I hope you guys have a great weekend, a great day, and I will speak to you all next time. Bye.